If you're not aware already, Groudon and Palkia are going to be receiving some move pool adjustments in the near future, making them way better in Master League PvP. Groudon will be getting the event-exclusive Fire Punch attack, very likely coinciding with the Hoenn Throwback Challenge event on May 15th. If you want more information about the Throwback Challenge and, cool stuff, move pool adjustments and all that jazz that goes along with it, link up above and description to that video, letting you know what's up on that. And then Palkia, we don't know when Palkia is going to get it. It's probably going to be in a couple days here, but Palkia is going to get Aqua Tail added to its move pool, so it's not an elite TMable move, it's just a normal TMable move. I guess all normal moves are elite TMable, but you don't need an elite TM for it, which is what you do need for Groudon. At any rate, in this video I'm going to be letting you know how these changes affect the Master League meta. How do you know this, Ryan Swag? Well, we got PvPoke, and PvPoke lets you adjust the moves so you can check this stuff out, so we now know how it's going to affect the meta, and I'm going to let you know what I found about them changing up the matchups. For example, Groudon here can now straight Fire Punch Dialga. 2 shield situation, Fire Punch, Dialga's dead. 1 shield situation, straight Fire Punch, Dialga's dead. So if Dialga's been giving you some harassment in the Master League, maybe Melmetal and Metagross have also been giving you harassment in the Master League, well, Groudon's here to lay waste to them, the Flame Emperor himself, reckon Master League. Before we get into this, I just want to give you a brief history of Groudon in Master League PvP. When PvP first came out, Groudon was one of the best Pokemon around because it could very rapidly get to Earthquake and Solar Beam and Fire Blast, letting it lay waste to tons of Pokemon in the Master League. Big problem that Groudon had that ended up catching up with it when, Giratina Origin Form came out and Dialga came out was the fact that it can only really do stuff in the 1 shield situation or with a shield advantage. If it was ever at a shield disadvantage or if the opponent had 2 shields, or depending on the Pokemon, if it was an even shield situation, Groudon could find itself on the losing side of the force there. All it needed was any lower energy cost charge move in order to make it good in PvP again. And in all honesty, Groudon is still pretty good in the Master League, even without Fire Punch. But to be meta again, to be back on top, to be the Groudon it once was, it just needed any charge move to be faster than Earthquake. And well, that's what Fire Punch is. And added perk, yeah, it can straight Fire Punch Dialga. It can straight Fire Punch Togekiss in the 1 shield situation too. So definitely a really good move for Groudon to have. To clarify, it's not that Mud Shot's busted, it's not that Earthquake's busted, it's not that Fire Punch is busted, it's just that Groudon is really, really powerful, and now it finally has all the tools it needs to be a full-fledged meta Pokemon. And with that out of the way, let's talk about all the cool stuff Groudon can do in the Master League now. And to speed this along, I'm going to be using my Master League simplified graphic. If you want to understand this graphic a whole lot better, I definitely recommend checking out my Master League 101 video so you know what's all up here with the Master League. Of course, I'm talking about some changes that will occur in the future of the Master League, so things will be updated in the near future. But definitely give you a good working idea of what's going on. The TLDR of this graphic is that the 5 primary groups here make up the Paper, Scissors, Rock, Lizard, Spock of the Master League meta, and then the color groups around the sides here are more of like anti-meta spicy Pokemon that can work out in the right situation. Groudon is one such spicy Pokemon, pre-Fire Punch. Its group here is the Fighting Mud kind of group, which is parallel to what's existing in the Great League here, because they basically do the same job, which is beating Steel-type Pokemon. That's what they're here for. And then they also have interactions with each other. Well, now that Groudon has Fire Punch, it kind of lays waste to everything in this group. Many of the fighting types could maybe finesse it because Groudon was a bit too slow. Now Groudon can just straight Fire Punch a lot of them. Garchomp had some outs using Sand Tomb, and it still technically does, but with Sand Tomb it could outspeed Groudon and then maybe beat it, but now it's got Fire Punch to get the speed back on its side, so watch out Garchomp here. The only member here that really threatens it now is Swampert, and Swampert's the kind of Pokemon that's really, really good in the right situation, but it's just a little bit too soft for all the different Titans that exist in the Master Leagues. So stocks on Swampert might be going up, but I don't think they're going up too fast here. Then, to make sense of all these matchups, I'm just going to go in a nice circle here. Next up is the Steel-type Pokemon. And yeah, make no mistake, Groudon just destroys the heck out of these guys. Many cases, straight Fire Punch. Some of them, it's going to want to just go straight Earthquake because it makes more sense. For example, I think Metagross, it makes more sense to just double Earthquake it because you're not really going to clip the extra Meteor Mash anyways in a lot of those shield situations. So you may as well just keep it consistent and just nuke the heck out of the thing. But definitely play it by ear there. One thing that's kind of funny too is that Heatran, you beat it straight Fire Punch. A little funny there. And I think Regirock's kind of dead now, to be honest. Like, it resists Fire Punch, but if Groudon's getting big, things are getting hard for everybody, and Regirock was just kind of barely hanging on to this meta to begin with, so sorry Regirock. Then when it comes to Togekiss needs no explanation. It does Togekiss things. In the 2 shield, it's going to beat you. In lesser shields, that Fire Punch is going to add up, so Togekiss can't win the 1-1. This guy beats it, straight Fire Punch. And quick thing I want to point out here with the Togekiss matchup that might be surprising, right? So this is the basic way it plays out. You know, you throw 2 Fire Punches, it shields them, and then you throw the 2 Fire Punches, you lose because it's Togekiss, right? And then it throws the Ancient Power and you shield it because if you were Dialga, then that could cause you to lose the matchup if you don't shield it. Well, you're not Dialga, you're Groudon. So if this guy does throw the Ancient Power, I think it's in your best interest to not shield it. Now, it might sound like a bad idea because it's clipping your 4th Fire Punch, so you're not getting that extra Fire Punch damage in, but it does save you a shield, and if you got a Steel type in the back or something that can easily subdue Togekiss, maybe it's your own Togekiss, for example, well then you have that extra shield to help you out throughout the fight. You don't need to shield it. You're going to lose anyway in the 2 shield situation, so why fight it? Then on top of that, if Togekiss does happen to get the boost, right, it doesn't clip your 3rd Fire Punch. You still get the 3rd Fire Punch in. However, if it does get the boost and you shield the attack, it does clip your next Fire Punch, the 4th Fire Punch, if you will. Like, you don't get it. You don't have enough energy. It just beats you. Got the boost. You're dead now. So yeah, so that's another thing, because then it's like you're basically wasting your shield. When you bring in your Steel type or something that can handle Togekiss a bit better after this, then you're down 1 shield for that matchup, which doesn't do you any favors. So quick note there, little Togekiss tech. Then when it comes to the Ice type Pokemon, yeah, Articuno here can just clown you, kind of, in the like 1-2 shield situation, just straight Icy Wind. It gets to save a shield, it Icy Winds you to death. If you end up against a Articuno, I'd say just let it kill you. If it traps you, just let it happen. Just Fire Punch until the end of your days, and then let the next Pokemon in take care of Articuno. Then when it comes to Mamoswine, Mamoswine doesn't have as much of an advantage as it would like to against you. In even situations, it should be beating you, but if you do get enough prior energy on you where you can land 2 Fire Punches on it, well then that's lights out for Mamoswine there. So Mamoswine, pretty good, but not too good, not too good. Then you have the Dialga matchup, the Golden Goose, right? Because now you can beat Dialga in all shield situations. However, I want to caution you guys, it's not that simple. Groudon isn't the magic silver bullet that lays waste to Dialga here. And the problem is that in the 2 shield situation, you beat it straight Fire Punch, but you don't beat it if you throw Earthquake twice, it gets shielded twice, and you don't beat it if you throw Earthquake, it gets shielded, and then you throw Fire Punch and they don't shield the Fire Punch. Now this guy beats you. Well, if Earthquake can muck things up in the 2 shield situation, then why don't you just go straight Fire Punch? That beats it in the 1 shield situation. Well, this is where things get to be a little bit complicated as far as PvP is concerned, and that is that the closing Fire Punch in the 1 shield situation is based off of Dialga giving you an extra fast move. Basically, if you use your charge move mid fast move on a Pokemon that has a slower fast move than you, or a fast move that doesn't sync up with yours, like, you know, you got the 2-turn fast moves, the 3-turn fast moves, the 1-turn fast moves, this might be a little bit over the heads for a lot of people here, but if you go mid animation there, you can give the Pokemon that you're up against an extra fast move that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And through that, Groudon is able to get the extra Fire Punch. If you want some more information on this phenomenon, Flark Fiasco did a really good analysis on it, link in the description to it on Reddit, help you understand this phenomenon a little bit more. It's actually really big for Pokemon that use stuff like Confusion and Volt Switch, because those moves are so slow, right? So it's very easy to use a charge move in the middle of those animations to give them extra fast moves. That's crazy, right? But that phenomenon does accelerate Groudon into getting that extra Fire Punch in the 1 shield situation. And then of course, if you were to drop your fast move at any point in time because of lag on either side, well then that makes it less consistent for either Pokemon depending on who minused from that situation. So if you try to straight Fire Punch Dialga, it might not go your way. It very likely will go your way because you're using a 2-turn fast move and it's using a 1-turn fast move. It's very hard to try to, you know, avoid that mid-animation situation with Mudshot, but they might. And if they do, that's awkward. So I just want to make you guys aware of that because it could happen. So once again, Groudon is beating Dialga in all shield situations, but it's not a super comfy fight. Then when it comes to Tyranitar and Darkrai, they're basically no longer in the meta. They're just not good anymore because this guy got better. So sorry guys, I'm not even going to talk about you. Giratinas. The Giratinas generally have the advantage over Groudon, but Groudon does have some outs to them now, which is pretty nice, typically in the one shield situation. For those of you that are interested in breakpoints out there, there is a best buddy breakpoint for Giratina Origin Form, Groudon versus it. If Groudon has at least a 14 defense IV and a 14 HP IV, higher, always better, and it's your best buddy, well then you can take it on in the one shield situation without needing to bait. You can go straight Earthquake. The Fire Punch helps you close the matchup. So that's pretty cool. Then next up we have the Dragonite group, the Dragon Breath group, whatever you want to call it. Hydreigon is kind of out of the club now. It's just not really working out in the meta. So Dragonite and Gyarados, really good Pokemon. And what makes them even better is that they completely clown the heck out of Groudon. Groudon, all shield situations, cannot beat these guys. And when it comes to Dragonite in particular, Dragonite doesn't even have to throw a charge move and doesn't even have to use a shield to beat Groudon. It just straight Dragon Breaths it to death, and then it has all that energy to unload on the next stuff in. It'd be so nice if Dragonite had, like, I don't know, a super effective charge move for Steel type Pokemon, or maybe a charge move that could actually maybe help it win the Togekiss situation. It doesn't, but definitely good to have all that energy for anything that could be coming in, because some damage is better than no damage, right? But yeah, no, because of Dragonite, and I guess to an extent Gyarados' prowess over the Groudon, and because Groudon is super crazy good over, you know, 4 of the big 5 of this meta, yeah, no, stocks in Dragonite are definitely going up. And then we got another consistent thing that can beat Groudon here, which is Kyogre, and yeah, Dragonite beats the heck out of Kyogre. Interesting thing with Kyogre too, if you're interested, is in the 1-0 shield situation, so if Groudon has a shield advantage over Kyogre, it can still beat it even without Solar Beam. Basically, you have to land an Earthquake, and then you land a Fire Punch, and the combination of that is able to subdue this guy when you have a shield advantage and they don't even have a shield. So cool news for Groudon there. Still maintains that at least. I mean, of course in even shields this guy beats you, and in 2 shields this guy beats you, but hey. Oh yeah, and then we got the electric types, and they ain't doing nothing against Groudon. Don't even worry about it. Then moving on down, we have Snorlax. Snorlax doesn't really have a whole lot of game against the Groudon there, so sorry Snorlax. Then when it comes to Mewtwo, if you are using the Psystrike Shadow Ball Mewtwo, Groudon will be able to beat you in the 1 shield situation, just straight Earthquake, and if you do take it to the 2 shield situation, it just has to bait you with 1 Fire Punch in order to take you out with the Earthquake damage. And for you best buddy seekers out there, interesting best buddy like soft breakpoint, I guess, against Mewtwo. If you have a best buddy Groudon, and it has at least a 15 attack IV, well the extra 1 damage from your Fire Punches is enough to take it out in the 2 shield situation, straight Fire Punch. Now if you don't have a 15 attack IV, I think you can still maintain this if you have a 15 HP IV, because that'll allow you to survive just enough to take it out too. So a little bit of a trickier kind of IV situation, but hey, if they don't have Ice Beam, definitely good to have that super consistent, just I'm going to Fire Punch you, 2 shields, I don't care, I'm just going to keep punching you. And then in the midst of that, if they happen to shield one of your Fire Punches, and you know, if it's Clement, just unleash the Earthquake. Teach them a lesson about everything. You wanted to Elite TM your Ice Beam away because you want double Legacy Mewtwo. Good job. You didn't listen to Ryan Swag. Ice Beam matters a lot now. And Groudon's here to remind you that you should listen to the Swag Man when it comes to his predictions. Then when it comes to Ice Beam Mewtwo, in the 1 shield situation, it nearly beats you, so much to the point that if your HP or defense or both are like deficient, it could possibly beat you. You like survive with like I think 3 HP in that matchup. And if it's a best buddy, then it kind of makes things even worse for your Groudon. If it's slightly deficient, you know, Mewtwo swagging on in, catching your Groudon slipping. And I mean, if you really think about it, if Groudon were to have any like prior damage at all on it, then yeah, Mewtwo definitely going to catch you slipping with the Ice Beam there. And then when it comes to the 2 shield situation, yeah, Mewtwo will just beat you with the Ice Beams. If it does go straight Ice Beam, you do have a potential out if you're able to bait it twice with Fire Punch. But that's a big what if. I mean, that's 2 fire punches you're trying to bait it with, and it's slinging death beams at you. I don't know, man. And then if it baits you with a single Psy Strike, then yeah, game over. Game over. Mewtwo's got this. You got no game. So, Ice Beam Mewtwo. Now, if you did TM your Ice Beam away, now you got the double Legacy Mewtwo, you don't know what to do, you can always build another Mewtwo, man. I mean, get another good Mewtwo, lucky trade, whatever, and then you got 2 Mewtwo's. And then finally we got Lugia. And I don't want to say Lugia's meta right now, but I'd say that the stage is definitely set for it to come back in the game if Aeroblast is really freaking good. I looked in the Aeroblast stats a while back, and if Aeroblast were to be a lower energy cost than Sky Attack, I can't remember the specific number right now off the top of my head, but if it were to have that swag going on, then it would be able to pick up matchups against Kyogre once again, and beat the Togekiss once again, with some consistency there. So those are 2 really huge things that definitely hold Lugia back a lot. And if that were to change for it with the new Aeroblast, we have no stats on it, we don't even know when it's coming to the game, eventually it will, well then I think Lugia could make a big return. And then when it comes to Lugia versus Groudon here, it's a flying Pokemon, man. It's got one of the tankiest spreads in the entire game. So yeah, I definitely think that Lugia can make a triumphant return. With a buffed Aeroblast, or any other cool new tools. So with all these changes in place, what does the new Master League Simplified look like? And what's going on with that Palkia? I thought you said it got buffed, Ryan Swag. Well, I can show you a rough idea of what the new Master League meta may look like. Bam! Here you go, guys. I hope you can decipher this one. So the changes from that graphic to this graphic, aside from the art quality and you being able to decipher it easily, well, Groudon has now entered the main 5, the hexagon. It's entered it. It's a big player now. It can beat Steel types, it can beat Dialga. These 2 are ruling the school right now in the Master League, and now Groudon's here to whoop them into place. Now, because Groudon is so powerful, it gives a ton of credence to using Dragonite. This is Dragonite here. That's Gyarados. You can figure out what Pokemon this is. But yeah, no, so Dragonite here. Dragonite completely clowns the heck out of Groudon, which is huge. And then you got the Giratinas, you got Kyogre. They also beat Groudon. Dragonite beats them, so definitely increases Dragonite stock. Dragonite is pretty awesome in a meta where Groudon is very centralizing. Then because Dragonite beats the Giratinas and beats the Kyogre and beats the Groudon, but doesn't beat the Steel types, then you got these guys, they beat the Steel types, they beat the Groudon. Well, they technically merge groups, even though they are kind of different Pokemon. The Giratinas do beat Kyogre, but Kyogre does have a better time against the Togekiss than they do. It can actually overcome the Togekiss, so I'd say both of them, same group. They got slightly different roles, but the main job here is beating Groudon and beating the Steel-type Pokemon. By the way, quick note too, the Giratina with legs, the altered form, it can also go Dragon Breath as well, and if it does go Dragon Breath, it basically behaves roughly the same as this group does, so it's up to you if you want to go Dragon Breath on your altered form or not. I don't super advise it though, because Dragonite is kind of the best member of this group, just because it has the best clowning ability of the Groudon. But yeah, Dialga here, Dialga is still definitely on top. For sure, 100%. They ain't changing nothing. These guys, they all lose to Dialga, so of course Dialga is still here. And then what's going on with Togekiss here? Well, Togekiss has ascended the meta and is kind of like a god now. It's basically the god of the Master League meta because it beats everything here except for Steel-type Pokemon and maybe Kyogre in some situations. Honestly, these guys go toe-to-toe. Togekiss is still coming out ahead a lot of the time. And then when it comes to Steel-type Pokemon, you think like, oh, well, Ryan Swag, everybody, of course, is using Steel-type Pokemon because of Togekiss. Yeah, these guys definitely help out a ton against Togekiss. But they got a problem. Big old red target on their back. We got frickin' Groudon here ruining their lives. We got these 3 guys ruining their lives. Frickin' Dialga lands the Thunderclap. These guys are dead. They're straight up dead. And then you got these guys, and they also have outs to them. You know, Outrage or Draco Meteor landing. You got the Hydro Pump landing. You got this guy with Aqua Tail going on. Can possibly harass, threaten, maim, defeat these guys, and setting up Togekiss to just murder something else. Now, you might be thinking, oh, Ryan Swag, dude, Master League God. Well, then everybody's going to use Togekiss, right? Togekiss is the most perfect Pokemon. You want to have it on every single team now for the Master League. Not exactly. Not exactly. Togekiss is actually in a really risky state in this new meta because Togekiss only beats Dialga and Groudon here in the 2-shield situation. 2-shield situation, which means if you use Togekiss against these guys, you are now down a shield. And then both Dialga and Groudon here are 2 such Pokemon that take a massive advantage of a shield advantage situation. I mean, Groudon, Fire Punch, Earthquake with a shield advantage, if Dragonite's not happening, it's over. This guy here, Thunder with the Iron Head, beats everything. Everything. I'm pretty sure it beats everything. Dialga, my best buddy. What are you doing? What happens, guys? Yep, that's everything. That's everything. Every Pokemon. 252 Pokemon in the game right now, if you're wondering. Dialga beats all of them with a shield advantage. Now, of course, if you get Togekiss lined up with these other Dragon Breath users, or these guys down here, well then, of course, Togekiss is going to rip right through them, which is awesome. And if they're foolish enough to use like a fighting-type Pokemon or something else, yeah, Togekiss is going to ruin their lives. So, Togekiss is still really crazy good, but you're really going to think about how you're using Togekiss. Like, maybe it might be better to just drop a lot of those matchups and maintain even shields, lose that switch advantage, just so these guys don't hyper-destroy your life. But that is basically the Master League meta. And then there's other players in the game too. The Ice-type Pokemon are still good. This is just a rough sketch of what's going on in the Master League, my thoughts of it. Once we approach June, I'll probably put out a more complete and pretty thought, like the Florked one there. Now if you're thinking, Ryan Swag, why don't you just make the polished one already? Like, why not? You already figured it out, man. Well, I expect the meta to change before we get to the Master League. Like Aeroblast Lugia, for example. That could have a huge, massive change on this particular meta. So once we approach that, I'll refine things a little bit more, but for right now, this is my current projected thoughts. Master League meta doesn't matter right now. Mid-June, that's when it's gonna matter. We'll worry about it then. And for those of you wondering about the Master League Best Buddies, man, Ryan Swag, you told us about Best Buddy Groudon, you told us about Best Buddy this guy, you told us about I think those are the only two Best Buddies I addressed. Oh, by the way, Dragonite, if you Best Buddy Dragonite, then you can beat Best Buddy Palkia in the 2-shield situation, which sounds really hilarious because, like, why are you Best Buddying these guys when there's Best Buddy freaking Dialga, who is still the #1 Pokemon in the Master League, given all these crazy changes that you think would hurt it a lot, you know? But no. Dialga is still crazy, and the Dialga mirror is still huge, and the advantage that having a Best Buddy Dialga gives you in the Dialga mirror is still insane. So yeah, no, definitely Best Buddy or Dialga. Don't worry about these guys. Don't worry about this guy and its ability to straight fire punch, 2-shield, Side Strike, Shadow Ball, Mewtwo, and stuff like that. It's silliness. Silly. You're not even going to see Dialga, Giratina. You're probably not going to see that guy really. This though, you're gonna see some Dialgas. So, does the changes to Groudon mean that you can now master the Master League meta without a Melmetal or a Dialga or a Togekiss? No, not exactly, man, not exactly. You still really want to have Dialga, especially a 14 defense IV or higher Dialga, so you can Best Buddy it and get the defense breakpoint for the mirror, because Dialga is so insane. Getting that advantage for the mirror matchup it's insane. It's massive. You absolutely need it to perform most optimally in the Master League. And then on top of that, Melmetal's crazy good too. Metagross is a replacement, Heatran is a replacement, but I definitely found from first-hand experience using Metagross in the Master League this Season 1 here, Melmetal's just way better. It's just way more flexible. So if you don't have easy access to Melmetal, you can't get the Hundo Melmetal, you don't have a good Dialga, you don't have easy access to a good Dialga, and now Groudon, super centralizing, but that guy also needs good IVs. Like, well, what the heck, Ryan? So like, if I don't have good IVs on my Groudon, what do I do then? Well, we do have an answer for you now, and it's called the Premier Cup. For Go Battle League, alongside the Master League season, they're going to have the Premier Cup, which is the Master League, but with all of those nasty legendary and mythic Pokemon pulled out of it. Now, what does that meta look like? Well, it kind of looks like this. And if you want more details on the Premier Cup meta simplified, I hope to have that video out later this weekend, so make sure to subscribe and check it out. At any rate, I've exhausted all I have to say about the Master League and the Master League changes. If you got any questions on this content, comment below, let me know what's up. I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this content, you want to see more like it, maybe you want to know about that Premier Cup, well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these patron supporters. If you want to support the Swagman on Patreon, you are open to do that. And if you throw a fire punch and it's not a fire punch,